Let me tell you about every single item in Halls of Torment and how to unlock them. Gear items are unlocked after you rescue the Wellkeeper from the Ember Grounds. He will have a set of starting gear for you, and you can unlock more items by completing quests, and when you do, they have a chance to drop from any boss. Extract them through the well and you can now buy them from the Wellkeeper to keep them permanently. There are a total of 7 helmets in Halls of Torment. The ones aptly named Helmet and Hood are unlocked as soon as you rescue the Wellkeeper. The helmet gives you a +3 to defense and a +3 to block strength, while the hood gives you a +3 to defense and 12% increased health. The Wind Crown is unlocked by playing the Archer and not getting hit by enemies for 3 minutes straight. This can happen at any point in a run and it doesn't have to be the first 3 minutes. Level up your movement speed to avoid enemies and this should be a breeze. The Wind Crown gives you 1% attack speed for 5 seconds after you kill an enemy, stacking up to 50%. It's easily one of my favorite helmets and you'll have no trouble keeping up the 50% bonus pretty much all the time. The Fighter's Headband is unlocked by playing the Swordsman and defeating 10 bosses. There's no trick to this other than just playing the game. The headband heals you for 1% HP per second for 30 seconds after killing a boss or an elite. Great for topping up your health at regular intervals. The Ruby Circlet is unlocked by playing the Exterminator and applying 50 or more burn effects at the same time. This doesn't have to be on one enemy alone, and an easy way to obtain it is by picking the Dragon's Breath and Meteor Strike abilities to maximize your burn, and then pick all traits that increase burn chance and attack speed. The Ruby Circlet gives you a 4% damage buff to all damage for every burning enemy up to 60%. It's the perfect helmet for the Exterminator. The Thunder Crown is unlocked by applying the Electrify effect to enemies 100,000 times. Yes, 100,000 times. This can be done with any character, but might be easiest to grind out on the Sorceress, seeing as she has a chance to electrify enemies from the get-go. The Ring of Thunder will also help out a ton. The Thunder Crown triggers a lightning attack that deals 100 damage whenever you hit an electrified enemy with a magic attack, and it has a chance to apply even more electrification to the target. It's a decent Sorcerer's helmet for sure, but I tend to use the Wind Crown for the increased attack speed instead. The War Horns are unlocked by killing 50,000 Hellhounds in the Haunted Caverns. It doesn't actually say so on the quest itself, but that is how you get it. The War Horns weaken enemies every 5 seconds for 5 seconds by applying 3 stacks of Fragile to them. Enemies affected by Fragile take more damage from your attacks. This is a great helmet to grind out a quest where you need to apply a ton of debuffs. Moving over to rings, there are a total of 11 rings in the game. The Copper Ring, Iron Ring and Wooden Ring are unlocked as soon as you rescue the Wellkeeper. The Copper Ring gives you a 40% increase to critical damage, the Iron Ring gives you a +10 to base attack damage, while the Wooden Ring gives you a 10% increase to critical hit chance. The Demonic Bond is unlocked by defeating the Flame Dancer in the Ember Grounds. He spawns roughly 6 minutes into a run. The ring summons an imp every 5 seconds that fight for you. You will only be able to maintain 2 summons at a time unless you level up the duration rate. The maximum you can summon is 5 imps. This ring is definitely best for the Warlock, seeing as he has traits that increase the stats of summoned creatures, including duration. Both these rings and the upcoming Necromancers Clutch are very viable rings to use. The summoned creatures deal a lot of damage, especially when used with the Warlock. The Guiding Star is unlocked by walking a total 100,000 meters as the Archer. The time it takes to do this can be greatly decreased by maxing out movement speed and always being on the move. The Guiding Star cycles between 2 effects. While you're attacking using your main attack, you gain a 40% increase to attack speed and a 30% decrease to movement speed. While moving, you gain a 40% increase to movement speed and a 30% decrease to attack speed. It can be a bit confusing. If you move and attack, you gain both effects, meaning that you effectively get a 10% increase to both attack speed and movement speed. You can see which effect is active by looking at the star above your head. The Necromancer's Clutch is unlocked by defeating the Skeleton Lord in the Haunted Caverns. He spawns roughly 14 minutes into your run. This ring summons skeletons every 15 seconds that fight for you. Like with the Demonic Bond, you will only be able to maintain a certain amount of summons unless you level up the duration trait. The maximum you can summon is 5 skeletons. Again, a decent ring for the Warlock. The Ring of Fire is unlocked by reaching level 30 as the Exterminator. This ring transforms the damage type of your main weapon into fire and gives it a 15% chance to burn enemies. Burning enemies continue to take damage over time. This ring is great for the Exterminator to increase burn chance even more, but it also works wonders for all classes. The Pest ring is unlocked by killing 50,000 enemies as the Exterminator. This is another summoning ring that summons a rat every 2 seconds. The rats will bite up to 10 enemies and apply 5 random debuffs to them with each bite. This ring is of great help when grinding out the Pestbringer 2 quest, where you have to apply a total of 500,000 debuffs. The Ring of Thunder is unlocked by hitting 1000 enemies for 500 or more damage in a single run using the Sorceress main attack. If you scale crit chance, critical hit damage and damage in general, this should be a breeze. This ring transforms the damage type of your main weapon into electric and gives it a 15% chance to electrify enemies. Electrified enemies continue to take damage over time. It's a great ring for the Sorceress to increase her chance to electrify even more, but again, like with the Ring of Fire, it's great for every class. The Echoing Band is unlocked by hitting 1000 enemies for 300 or more damage in a single run using the Swordsman's main attack. You don't have to increase his damage by very much for this to be a breeze. This ring gives all of your physical attacks a 20% chance to deal 40% of their damage as splash damage to surrounding enemies. An amazing ring to use with the archer who doesn't have any area damage originally. Most likely best in slot for her. Moving on to necklaces, there are a total of 7 of them in the game. None of these are unlocked from the start. The Bloodcatcher is unlocked by surviving for 28 minutes on any stage with only your base health. This means no increases from items, the Shrine of Blessings or traits. This necklace heals you for 1 HP every time you deal 100 times your maximum health in damage. I made some fun builds using this ring where I was basically unkillable. If you're using this necklace, I recommend decreasing your HP as much as possible, seeing as that will lead to more healing. The more health you have, the more damage you will have to deal for each heal. The Color of Confidence unlocks after you play 20 runs and survive for at least 5 minutes 5 times as the Archer. This necklace gives you a 5% damage buff for every enemy in your pickup range up to 50%. Great for runs where you're using close range attacks and leveling up your pickup range. Most of the time you'll have the full 50% increase when using this ring. The Duelist Spark is unlocked by defeating any lord as the Shield Maiden. This necklace gives you a 50% damage buff that decreases by 5% for every enemy in your pickup range. It's basically the opposite of the Color of Confidence and definitely works best for characters with long range attacks like the Archer or Warlock who are able to kill enemies before they can get close. The Jade Amulett is unlocked by leveling up a total of 500 times across all your runs. This necklace gives you a 50% increase to XP gains, making it a lot easier to level up into the high levels. More levels means more traits, which again means more destruction. I tend to run this almost all the time as I'll be able to max out earlier and start farming gold with my remaining levels up. Unlocking all of this gear is expensive. The Maiden's tier is unlocked by healing for a total of 100,000 HP across all your runs. Having a high regeneration per second, destroying crates and using other gear items that heal you, like the Bloodcatcher and Blood-Soaked Shirt, will help you speed up this process. This necklace heals you for 10% whenever you take damage with a cooldown of 90 seconds. I find the necklace to be a bit underwhelming, so I never used it. I find the Bloodcatcher to be way more fun. The Scars of Toil is unlocked by reaching level 30 as the Swordsman. This necklace gives you a 0.07% damage buff for each missing health point. This should give a 7% increase to damage for every 100 missing health. But in reality it's giving way more. I think the game is rounding the 0.07 up to 0.1, or the tooltip is just wrong. It's an extremely viable ring for any class and especially those who have strong health increase traits like the Swordsman. The Gatherer's Charm is unlocked as soon as you unlock the Cupbearer. This necklace helps you locate herbs during your run that in return unlocks more potions at the Cupbearer. It's essential that you use this necklace in your early runs until you have them all unlocked. It also gives you a 10% buff to movement speed. When you have all the potions unlocked, however, this necklace becomes rather obsolete. I never used it afterwards because there's simply much better alternatives. Let's go on to boots, which there are 8 of in the game. The plated boots and runner shoes are unlocked as soon as you unlock the Wellkeeper. The plated boots give you a +3 bonus to defense and block strength, while the runner shoes gives you a 15% increase to movement speed. The Electrostatic Threads is unlocked by increasing your movement speed up to 11 meters per second as the sorceress, easily obtainable by using items like the runner shoes, Gatherer's Charm, Guiding Star, and leveling up movement speed in the Shrine of Blessings. You can also unlock it perfectly fine without using all of these items. Finding one of the buffs from crates that increase your movement speed will also unlock this for you, as long as your base movement speed is high enough. These boots charge up as you move and eventually release a shockwave that damages and stuns enemies. It has a really low range and the damage is locked at 50, which doesn't really make it a good choice in my opinion. There are far better alternatives. The Elven Slippers are unlocked by reaching level 30 as the Archer. These boots increase your block as long as you stay on the move. This increase starts out at a maximum of 10 that increases the more movement speed that you get. This is a great item for the Shield Maiden that can help her become almost unkillable, and for the Sorceress who has a high movement speed to start. The Firewalker Boots are unlocked by walking 8,000 meters in one run as the Exterminator. Get all the movement speed you can and then always stay on the move, and you should be able to unlock this easily. These boots leave behind a trail of fire as you move that damages and has a small chance to burn enemies, making them take additional damage over time. Great for exterminators who just want to see the world burn, but it's just as effective with any class. The Bogged Boots are unlocked by killing 50,000 slimes in the Haunted Caverns. These boots leave behind trails of goo that slow down enemies. The goo sticks around for 10 seconds or until a certain amount of enemies has stepped in them. I haven't used this item yet as I simply find the effect to not be that interesting. The Spike Boots are unlocked by walking 5,000 meters in one run as the Swordsman. Again, get all the movement speed that you can and then run for it. These boots drop 10 spikes around you when you get hit. These deal 100 damage and stuns the enemies that it hits, and it has a cooldown of 4 seconds. Yet another item that I never used due to not finding the effect to be that interesting, but I have theory crafted a Thorns build using the Shield Maiden that I plan to try this on in the future. The Pase Setters are unlocked by surviving for 20 minutes without regenerating health. I'm not 100% sure about all the mechanics related to this, but the Warlock and the Sorceress are the only 2 classes in the game who don't have any base health regeneration, so I think you'll have to do it on one of those. I'm also not quite sure if healing from items count or not, as I unlocked this without using healing from items as well. What I do know is that you can heal from potions and food that you find in crates. The Pase Setters heal you for 1% of your maximum HP for every 10 seconds that you stand still. Yet another fantastic AFK build item. Moving on to Chestpieces, there are a total of 7 of them in the game. The Chainmail and Plate Armor are unlocked as soon as you rescue the Wellkeeper. The Chainmail gives you a 10% increase to health capacity and a +3 to defense. The Plate Armor simply gives you a +6 to block strength. The Blazing Shell is unlocked by killing 50,000 Scorched in the Ember Grounds. Scorched are the humanoid enemies that you encounter in the first wave and then later on. This chest piece has a 50% chance to burn enemies that touch you, and it increases your block strength by 6. This is a direct upgrade to the plate armor, and once you unlock this, you will never use the plate armor again, for obvious reasons. The Defiant Plate is unlocked by surviving for 28 minutes as the Shield Maiden with only your base defense. This means no increases from gear, the Shrine of Blessings or traits. This chest piece gives you a +3 to defense for 5 seconds every time you take damage, up to a total of 30 defense. This is a great item for the Shield Maiden coupled with the Bulwark traits. If you stack your defense high enough, you'll barely be taking 5 to 6 damage per hit by the end. The Hunter's Garb is unlocked by waiting for 180 seconds at the beginning of a run before you move as the Archer. This is easily done in the Haunted Caverns where the enemies are the weakest. Get all the attack speed and damage you can, activate auto aim and just stand still. Using the Echoing Band also helps with taking out more enemies this as the density increases, but you should be fine without. You can also use the revives from the Shrine of Blessings or the Seal of Rebirth ring to help you out. Leveling up the pickup range in the Shrine of Blessings will also help you out to gain a few levels. This chest piece increases your damage by 8% for every second that you stand still, up to 40%. When you move, the bonus resets. This piece works with pretty much every class. The Blood-Soaked shirt is unlocked by healing for 2000 HP in a single run as the Swordsman. To get this, you should level up the health regeneration in the Shrine of Blessings and equip healing items like the Bloodcatcher and the Fighter's Headbands if you have them. Also pick health regeneration traits as early in the run as you can. Now make sure you take damage at regular intervals and then seek out as many crates as you can for additional healing items. This chest piece gives you a 3% chance to heal for 1 HP every time you kill an enemy, statistically giving you 3 health for every 100 enemies you kill. I pretty much haven't used any other chest piece after unlocking this. The heal just feels too powerful since you're literally mowing down thousands of enemies in your run. The Shadow Cloak is unlocked by not getting hit for 5 minutes straight while playing as the Warlock. Get all the movement speed you can and then dance around your enemies. This chest piece spawns shadows near you that damages enemies and increases your block strength by 10. It's a fun item to use with the Shield Maiden to make her even more unkillable. Lastly, we have the gloves, and there are a total of 8 gloves in the game. The Longfinger gloves and Quickhand gloves are unlocked as soon as you rescue the Wellkeeper. The Longfinger gloves gives you 80% increase to pickup range, and the Quickhand gloves gives you a 20% increase to attack speed. The Quickhand gloves are some of the best in the game for all classes. The Fencer gauntlets are unlocked by critting 2000 enemies using the Shield Maiden's main attack in a single run. Take note that this has to be the close range mace attack and not the shield bash. You should have an easy time unlocking this by getting all the crit chance, attack speed and additional attacks that you can get. It can also help to not pick abilities or too many of them so that they don't steal kills from your main attack. These gloves gives you a 50% chance to get an extra attack every time an enemy hits you. This attack always crits. On top of this, it also gives you a +5 to block strength. A perfect item for the Shield Maiden. The Hunting gloves are unlocked by killing 20,000 enemies in a single run as the Archer. Equipping the Echoing Band will help with this and then get the abilities that deal damage in an area. These gloves give you a 30% increase to projectiles and additional strikes. It's a fantastic set of gloves to use with the Sorceress and Archer and pairs well together with projectile based abilities like the Arcane Splinters, Ring Blades, Phantom Needles and Transfixion. The Spellcaster Gloves are unlocked after you purchase your first item from the Wellkeeper. These gloves increase your damage up to 66.6% when you're not using your main attack. Great for finishing those quests where you have to deal a certain amount of damage with a certain ability. The Thornfists are unlocked by getting hit a total of 500 times as the Swordsman. This can be done over multiple runs. These gloves deal a critical hit to each enemy that hits you. Simple. The Sparking Tips are unlocked by destroying 200 objects as the Exterminator. Objects are things like barrels and crates that you find stacked around the stages. These gloves spark fire projectiles whenever a burning enemy is hit with a physical attack. This projectile deals damage based on your burn chance and has a chance to set enemies on fire, dealing additional damage to them over time. This item requires a bit of setup and circumstance, so I never bothered using it. The Invocator's Grasp is unlocked by reaching level 60 as the Warlock. These gloves give you a 40% increase to summon spawns and duration and a 20% increase to summon damage. This is the perfect Warlock item that also pairs well together with the Demonic Bond and Necromancer's Clutch rings. And that's all of them. I can't wait for the developers to make changes and add in more items to invalidate this whole video. If you haven't checked out my tips and tricks for Halls of Torment yet, I recommend you do so right now.